We'll just get started there now, lads and ladies, so I'll just pass you on to Darren.
Thanks, Jackie. Hello, everyone. Hope everyone is keeping well in these strange times. Just to introduce myself, my name is Darren Hayden. I'm a GDA in Wicklow. I mainly work with clubs in the south of the county. Thank you to Jackie, who will be assisting me with tonight's webinar. These webinars are new to a lot of people, including myself. So if you experience any problems or glitches, I think Jackie said it, please log out and log back in again. In previous webinars, we found this to work. There will be a few videos in tonight's presentation, which can be jumpy at the start. So we just ask that you bear with us, as just the nature of these webinars. We also will be sending out the presentation and all videos so you can look over again. We also have a few tasks where we're asking you to use the chat function. So please do so. The more interaction we get, the better the webinar will be. Can we also ask that you have a pen and paper ready? And just the last thing before we begin, Jackie touched on as well, can you please ensure your camera and microphone are turned off? This will help with the quality of the presentation. So just moving on. So TURAS. So TURAS is a Leinster GAA initiative. TURAS is Irish for journey. TURAS is there not only to help players on their journey, but support coaches on their journey too. So task one. So if we can get you to actually use the chat function for this, like we talked about. And the first kind of task is, what is your motivation for doing this webinar? So what we're looking for is, what would you like to get out of this webinar? So if you could use the chat function there now, we give you 30 or 40 seconds just to input what you would like to get out of tonight's webinar. Jackie, if you could just read out as they come in, I just can't see the chat function.
Yeah, that's no problem, Darren. So I've a few coming in there now, Darren. Improve my coaching skills, information and ideas to help me put on better sessions. The best way to encourage kids who are struggling to keep up. It's a funny age for kids changing with schools and everything.
Yeah, perfect.
Some really good ones coming in here. To improve as a coach and learn more about coaching specific to the under 13 grade and the TURAS plan. Learn more about this age group, coaching wise, and how to implement it. One person here, Patrick, has only played hurling, so he wants to improve his coaching football. Learn more from other coaches, never wants to stop learning. That's a good one, Alex. Best practice for coaching under 13s and 11s.
Oh, perfect.
And John has put in, what structures are the county putting in place to allow players to develop?
Okay, perfect. Yeah, they're all really good. So just give it another 10 seconds or so, see any more come in, and we'll move on. They're all really good.
Another one from Jimmy is improve the way I coach to help kids develop their skills and keep on level with all other teams.
Good.
There's some really good feedback there.
Yeah, no, they're all really good. So like for myself, when I kind of do any webinar or workshop, like I'm looking for new resources, like new activities, new games, anything that can improve me as a coach. So they're all really good. So the aim of this webinar is helping coaches to understand how to deliver age-appropriate activities for the 12, 13-year-old player. Webinar outcomes, okay? So by the end of this presentation, we should be able to explain the TURAS coach principles and player pathway coach resources. So just there's an echo there. recognise the total playing performance coaching model. And then 3 is avail of the GDA club visit program. So let's go through them again. So 1 is explain the TURAS coach principles and player pathway coaching resource. 2 is recognise the total playing performance coaching model in practice. And 3, avail of the GDA club visit program. So the player pathway. So the player pathway is a stage approach that maps the player's journey. It is a guide for coaches how to deliver what is needed and when is needed. So we concentrate on how to coach and what to coach. It is a clear understanding of where a player currently is and where they are heading. So if you take each age group as a bus stop, it's our job of coaches to prepare our players for the next stop. Another task, so use the chat function again, okay? Just input your answer. So the next question we have is, what does good coaching look like? So for you, what does good coaching look like? So I'll get you to use that chat function again. We'll give you 30 seconds. And if Jackie, if you could read out the answers again for me, please.
Yeah, no problem, Darren. So we have kids enjoying themselves, 2 ways of communication. Kids must be enjoying the training sessions, challenging and fun while catering for all abilities, enjoyable for players, big turnouts, lots of coaches, fun, organised and participants, having training planned before the session, players want to come and learn new skills, happy players displaying the technical skills of the game in a team environment. Players enjoy session and understand reasons for training, games and drills. Kieran has said lots of fun, game-based. And Kyla has said player feedback.
Brilliant, brilliant. Some really, really good answers there. Excellent answers. So like fun comes up a lot there, which is excellent. If it's not fun, players won't come back. They're really good. Just give it 10 seconds go if anyone else wants to answer.
I missed there one from Alan, player attention and participation engagement. Kids to enjoy themselves and develop their specific skills at this specific level and not emphasis on winning. So that comes back to your fun, which is an important one. Interaction and learning, sometimes chaos. We'll call that organised chaos. Players are engaged and enjoying the session geared towards developing players at their own individual pace.
Brilliant. So we'll move on.
So
that's perfect. So, yeah, any more?
No, that's it. There's some great feedback there.
So move on. So good coaching. So these are the possible answers, some of the answers we would have got in previous webinars or workshops. And I think throughout your answers there, you covered a lot of them. So well-planned sessions came up, good communication, strengths and weaknesses of players, feedback from players came up, enjoyable, which is a big one, as we touched on it. If it's not enjoyable, players won't come back. Enthusiasm, games, develop skill, cater for mixed ability, appropriate activities, and then like well-planned session, it's well organised. So some really good answers there, and we covered a lot of them. So we move on to the how we coach. Okay, so TURAS principles focus on how to coach. A principle is a rule or belief governing one's behaviour. So adopting the TURAS principles, a coach will increase the chances of a player reaching their full potential. So as coaches, I think we all want our players reaching their full potential. And by using the TURAS principles, we will increase the chances of that happening. So using the TURAS principles, our sessions should be or are testing. So we choose activities that challenge all players. Unique. It understands each player has individual needs, so it's player-centered. Relevant. So activities that resemble the game, so it's game-based. All-inclusive. All players involved all the time or most of the time. stimulating, so enjoyable, developmentally appropriate, and holistic GA experience. So we said that a few times now, enjoyable, and it really is a big one. And as we said, if it's not enjoyable, they won't come back. So when we're planning our sessions, that's what we should be looking at. So we should be looking to use the TURAS principles. Another task, so still using the chat function. Okay. If you can input, like, what can you develop in your players? So we're looking at the what now. Okay, so what can you develop in your players? 30 or 40 seconds again. If you can answer again, and Jackie, I'll get you to do the exact same thing, please.
Yeah, no problem. So we've sportsmanship and teamwork, football skills, confidence/competence, confidence, improve skills, skills and or confidence, skills, team play, fitness, team ethic, skills, communication, camaraderie, skills to play. So there's skills is coming up a lot. Team mentality. There's some great ones there. So there is, Darren.
Yeah, perfect. So team play comes a lot. That's really important, working as a team. Skills, obviously very important. Not be able to perform skills, won't be able to play. Some excellent ones there. Keep them coming.
Skills, confidence and fitness, maturity, two-footed and two hand passes, so off both sides. Skills, team, play, communication. Skills, inclusive ethos, game for all. Skills, confidence within themselves and with others. Interpersonal skills, encouraging players to think.
Yeah, perfect. Really good. Excellent stuff. So, yeah, no, so we'll move on there. Yeah, that was excellent. So we'll move on. So we go through some of the answers. As I said, we got these in previous workshops or webinars. So a lot of them came up there through your answers. So skills came up a lot there. Team play came up a lot. Decision making, so on and off the ball. Discipline, on and off the field. Defending and attacking. Develop movement, develop speed, develop fitness, and then good communication. So I think we covered most of them there, if not all of them, which is excellent. So that was really, really good. So we're still talking about the what the coach, okay? So we're talking about the total playing performance model, so the TPP. So this is made up of 3 T's and 3 P's. The 3 T's are technical proficiency, tactical prowess, and team play. And the 3 P's are physical fitness, participant feedback, and psychological focus. So on the next 2 slides, we'll go into detail of each one. So technical proficiency, this is the technical skills of the game on both sides. So I think it was mentioned there that working skills on both sides. So punt kick both sides, near hand tackle both sides, crouch both sides. So they're just some examples. Tactical prowess, so this is decision making on and off the ball. So should I pass or shoot? Should I tackle or shadow? Should I hand pass or kick pass? Team play, which came up a lot there in your answer. So playing as part of a team. So calling for the ball, supporting runs, encouraging teammates, assisting teammates in the tackle. They're just like some examples of playing as a team. Now we move on to the 3 P's. So physical fitness. So fundamental movement skills of the player. So running, jumping. So how long can I jump? How far can I jump? How high can I jump? How fast can I run? Okay, that's physical fitness. Participant feedback. So this is the level and type of communication with the coach. The coach should give positive and clear guidance. The coach should ask open questions to promote thought. So when asking questions, you shouldn't ask questions that just give yes or no answers. You should ask an open questions that get feedback from your players that show that they're learning. So example of this is, what position is your head, hands, and feet when performing the high catch or any skill? So it could be the solo high catch. It could be any skill at all. Psychological focus. So this is the player state of mind. The coach should help the player focus on the here and now, keep the player engaged. Do the player feel valued, included, and challenged in the sessions? That's the TPP model, and that's how we build the player. Okay, so as I said, we have the technical skills, which is the skills, tactical, which is decision making, physical fitness, team play, psychological focus in the center, and participant feedback. So this is what can be found at the center of each TURAS card, which we will see later on. So I'll show a full TURAS card later in the presentation. The headings stay the same, but what goes into them changes at different ages. So them headings stay the same on each card, but what goes in them changes slightly as we go up in age. So task 4. So we won't put in the chat function this time. So for this task, you'll need your pen and paper. If you can just copy the slide you see on your screen there onto your page. So if you kind of put down the 6 headings there: technical, which is your skills; tactical, which is decision making; team play; physical fitness; participant feedback; and psychological focus, just as you see it there. And on the next slide, we're going to play a video of an activity, and we want you to list how this activity develops each one of the headings. So, for example, how does it develop the skill? How does it develop decision making, team play, and so on? Okay. Just give you 10 seconds so just to make sure you have that written down. And I'll play this video. So this is an activity where players are asked to use the punt kick. As you can see, players are 10 meters apart. And they're asked to punt kick to each other through a gate marked by 2 cones. As you can see, 2 cones there, and they're asked to punt kick to each other. As the players get more comfortable and confident, they move further apart. So we just play that again. I won't talk through this one. If you just kind of like the task, so what we're looking to is list how the activity develops under each heading. Okay, so as you said, how it develops the skill, how it develops decision making, if any. Perfect. Now, so we'll just move on to the next slide. So this is the answer, some of the answers you may have, right? So just if you kind of just want to see, does these answers match your answers that you had on your sheet? So the partner punt kick. So technical. So skill is the main area being developed. So the punt kick is the main area being developed. Each player receives a lot of opportunities to practice the skill. Tactical, very little decision making. Probably the only decision they're kind of really making is the strength of the pass, especially as they move back away from each other. Team play, small amount of team play. Eye contact, maybe calling for the ball, hands to provide target for the passer, and a little bit of encouragement. Physical fitness, basic coordination skills. So coordination skills as they're performing the punt kick, but little to no movement. Participant feedback. Coach can maybe concentrate on head, hands, and feet of each passer. So asking questions of players to think about their head, hands, and feet while they're forming the skill. Psychological focus. So there's a ball between 2, so each player is included. Lack of stimulus may be a problem, so they could get bored. So adding in an opponent or maybe a time could help with that problem. Moving on, we have one more video. I'll just get you to write down these headings on your page again. Okay, we have another video on the next slide. Just we do the exact same thing. So we want to list how the activity develops each heading. Okay. So this is a 4v4 possession game using the kick pass. Blues v yellows. Players have to retain possession using the punt pass. Using the kick pass. So we'll play that again. It's a short clip, so I'll play it 3 times. So we're looking at how this activity develops each heading. Skills, decision making, physical fitness, participant feedback, psychological focus. One more time. Right, so 4v4 possession game. Technical. So the skill is performed in a match-related situation. Players may receive less opportunities to practice, however. So that's with game-based. Like some of the weaker players might not get as much touches. Okay, but with small-sided games, they should be getting enough touches. And that's the fear there is that. The stronger players might get more touches than the weaker players in game-based stuff. Tactical prowess. Player can now decide if to pass or move and who to pass it to. So a lot of decisions to be made by the player on and off the ball. Team play. Players can move and support the ball carrier from behind, the side and in front. Calling becomes more important. Okay, so communication becomes a big part of this game. Physical fitness. Contests and contacts between players as well as increased speed and evasion skills. So there's going to be obviously tackling and contests between players. So for example, if it's a high ball comes in between 2 players, players could be coming down landing on one leg, which helps with balance, speed, acceleration and deceleration, and obviously evasion skills with the sidestep and stuff. Participant feedback. With decisions to be made, coach has the opportunity to generate feedback on technique, decision making, team play as well as effort. So it's an opportunity there for the coach to ask open questions to generate feedback. For example, on technique, we did talk about head, hands and feet, get the player to think about their technique while they're performing the skill. Psychological focus. Obvious relevance to the game and competition will engage players. Understanding and application of rules will be important as well as balance of teams. So the importance of balance of teams, make sure there's not a strong and weak team. If there's a weak team, the morale of the weak team could be low. So this is the TURAS 12 and 13 card. As we said, the wheel is always at the center of it, and the headings there we have technical, and we talked about like they stay the same, but all stuff that in them changes as we go with the age. So technical skills we have in here is kicking. So emphasis on accuracy, kicking on the move, kicking for distance, handling low chest and high catch in pressured situations. Movement, dummy solo, feint sidestep, and then tackling. Then we have decision making, play condition games to create pressure on players' decision making. Team play, encourage and support teammates vocally. Then we have physical fitness, body resistant exercises, push, pull, squat, lunge movement patterns, evasion, running, participant feedback, using imagery, okay, players to mirror their heroes, their playing heroes, and psychological focus, okay. Look for feedback from players look for feedback from players. As you see in the card, there's 4 corners: the coach, the player, environment, and the game. So there's just some cues there. So the coach, get to know your players individually, well organized and planned sessions. The player, become very self-conscious in front of group. Lack of confidence may be a barrier. Environment, fun is #1 priority. So we talked about that a lot. Fun is very important. Coach to player ratio 1 to 10. At least one ball for every 2 players. So if you can get a ball for every player, that'd be excellent. As the more touches, the better they're going to become at the skills. But I would say at least one ball for every 2 players. The game, small-sided games, very important. So 5v5, 7v7, 9v9. The smaller the game, the more touches the players will receive. Okay, so that's the TURAS playing card. So moving on to just some resources. So Wicklow GA coaching and games development staff have designed 8 sessions for under 13, 14, 15 and 16. Okay, it's probably the reason behind designing these sessions was to help connect academy squads, club and post-primary schools. As you can see at the top there, each session has a theme, and the theme this one is decision making. There's 5 activities. So the warm-up activity is the GA 15 warm-up. The GA 15 is an injury prevention warm-up. You can find actually more information at learning.gaa.ie/Gaelic 15. And I would encourage all coaches to kind of look that up and explore that for themselves. Activity 1, so we said the team session was decision making. So activity 1, to improve decision making on and off the ball in a 2v1 situation. Okay. Activity 2, decision making to get a score. Activity 3, decision making using the kick pass. And then activity 4 is decision making in a game based situation. So bring that back to a game. Okay. So these 8 sessions will be emailed out to you tomorrow, okay, with all the presentation and other links to videos and stuff, okay. So as I said, there's 8 sessions for that. Another resource is the GA activity planner. I say most of you probably are familiar with this. So this is on learning.gaa.ie as well. I use actually this a lot for my school coaching and my coaching. Very useful tool. As you can see, there's 4 tabs at the top: hurling, football, handball and rounders. Pick the code that you want, and on the left hand side is the age grade. And as you go in that, all activities that what you want to maybe work on, punt, kick or anything, all come up, fun exercises. So I would recommend that coaches also explore that as well. As I said, it's a very useful tool to use and have. Just another kind of resource is on leinsterga.ie. So as you see, there's 3 resources there. There's child resources, youth resources, and adult resources. And it doesn't, probably another resource is anything online. So using Twitter, a lot of coaches are sticking up activities and all now on Twitter. So don't be afraid to look for resources online. Just last thing, the club visit model. So the club visit model is made up of 3 steps. Step 1, so attend the workshops webinar, which you have done there tonight. Step 2, the club visit to assist. So when we get back to the field, which will hopefully be sooner rather than later, you contact your GDA in your region, and the GDA comes out to your club and assists you with your session. Step 3 is the second club visit. So you, the club coach, takes the lead, and the GDA observes and gives feedback on the session. That's nothing to be fearful of. That is just help you to become better as a coach. It's so it's nothing to be fearful of. So that's the presentation finished. We love to have any of your questions you might have any questions you might have. So you want to enter them into the chat, and we'll do our best to answer them. So Jackie, if you want to just look at the chat there, please.
Yeah. Liam was just wondering about getting the slides emailed tomorrow, but I'd said that you're going to email the links to the videos and that to them.
Yeah,
he answered the questions pretty much after.
Yeah,
so it was
presentation, grand. Links to videos, links to learning.ga.ie, and I'll send links to all the activity planner, GA 15, all in email tomorrow. with the presentation.
John has a question there. How often should a 12-year-old train?
Yeah, so I would say if possible twice a week, if possible. So 2 1-hour sessions, if possible. That's my opinion. Yeah, that's my opinion. They should be training twice a week, 2 1-hour sessions, if at all possible.
And how long should a training session be at this age?
Little over an hour, no longer. That's in my opinion. That should be on the field little over an hour. I wouldn't have them there for 2 hours.
Kieran has a question. How much should be drill-based versus game-based?
Well, game-based as much as possible, but obviously if you're introducing a skill or trying to break down a skill, it's very hard to do it in a game. So you might have to do it in a drill base first and then bring it to a game. So try to do game-based as much as possible, but if you have to introduce a skill or break down a skill, it's very hard to do that in a game-based situation. So you have to do that in a drill base first.
Mick has a question here. For weaker players with the under 11 players last year, they did smaller games like 5-a-side, but for the weaker players, we tried to insist that the team wins when everyone has scored. Sometimes the weaker players felt more pressured by this. Any suggestions?
Yeah, a lot of pressure can come on from the stronger players, and they're trying to if like players are not sure, they know if one player has to touch the ball, they all go to that player, and sometimes very hard to get to that player. You don't have to add in a score. Sometimes you just play. Sometimes scores can add pressure, especially in training. So that's what I do. Maybe take away the score element of it, the scoring element of it, or mix it up a bit. Come up with a new way, a new scoring system.
Just to follow up on that one, Darren, I find a good one is to give, so say if you're a red team and if you're an orange team, if you give one of the players a green bib or even 2 players a green bib, they play with whichever team has possession. So you can change this up every 40, 50 seconds, whatever the time limit you want. But sometimes if you get the weaker players to be the spare player with the green bib, that if they score, they get 2 points. So it kind of brings them into the game a little bit more and they get more touches on the ball, while the stronger players are also going to include them. So sometimes I find, depending on your group, obviously sometimes that works out as well, just to include some of the weaker players rather than making them feel pressured into actual just getting scores off it.
Yeah.
Another one here is, what form of discipline for messing during training would you suggest?
Yeah, well, making the player kind of sit out of games or anything like that. So try to make the games as fun as possible. And if you have a player sitting out, I find if you're sitting out any period of time and you're playing a fun game or you're playing a game-based session or a match, if you see their friends having fun and they're missing out, they'll want to get back in as quick as possible. So that's the way I mess with anyone, or sorry, deal with anyone messing. It's just kind of get them to take a time out and just miss out in an activity.
We have another one here from Patrick. What about training in dual code clubs, 50-50 sessions or alternative football / hurling weeks?
Me personally would do alternative football hurling weeks. We do that for all our dual players in the academy squads. I probably don't think, me personally don't think 50-50 sessions work that well. So I personally would go for the eternal football hurling weeks.
Yeah, I'd agree with Darren there as well. Sometimes you find you waste a little bit more time changing over hurls and helmets and going from kind of football to hurling or vice versa, whereas you probably get more out of your session if you're doing one full session of football and one full session of hurling, because you only have to set up to once. And then the kids are getting more touches on ball as well.
That's probably it, especially at this age as well. So
Fela has skill-based competition. Is there a session to practice this with a group of players?
We can send out the skills competition and we get it. There is in the sessions we've done up the 8 sessions for under 13. There is a skill test in there. I'm not sure it's the same as the Fela skill-based competition, but we if we get that, we can send that out to clubs. But there is a skill, as I said, there is a skill test in them sessions that we will be sending out in the 8 sessions that we've designed.
That's all the questions there now, Darren. So if anyone else has a question there, we'll just give you 30-40 seconds there to type it in, or even type your name if you want to unmute your mic and ask any questions there. Work away. Just give you 30-40 seconds there.
Yeah, I just seen Paul Garrigan has just put in a link on Facebook there, and he just put in previous video of tests in Fela, so that might help.
Paul has a question there. Positional play for younger players at 11s and 13s can be detrimental to developing skill.
So, like, Paul, do you mean like them not experiment all positions or just playing in one position? If you're talking about that they just play in one position, I would personally get try to let all players sample all positions as much as possible, because sorry,
you can hear me, yeah.
Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, no, I see a kind of propensity of some of the club teams to play same chaps in the same positions week in, week out, because they're fairly strong in that position. And I don't agree with it myself, you know. But you say you can guarantee a good, strong kind of showing if you play certain children in certain positions, because they're good maybe in the backs or they're sharp in the forwards, whereas you tend to go a bit stale and it can drive the kids away.
Yeah, no, just a perfect example of that. Like if you take Leighton Glynn, like when he first started, he played corner back, and he turned out to be one of the best corner forwards. Anyway, so I've no doubt playing a corner back or in the backs helped him become really, really, really good forward. So, like at 13, especially, you don't know what the best position might be as they get older. So I would, at that age, definitely get them to sample as much positions as possible to see what their really, really their best position is going to be.
Well, with tendency to kind of tell them one week, says, "I'll play in one position." Next week, move them on. I say, I know I'll see clubs that would probably have the same kids playing the same positions, and they're strong in those positions and they dominate in those positions, and they know that's kind of safe. However, it's the kids themselves can get frustrated. The same thing week in, week out.
Agree totally there, Paul. In my opinion, I think there should be sampling as many positions as possible, especially at that age.
Yeah. Okay, Darren. Listen.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Richie has a question there. So, Richie, if you want to unmute yourself there and you can shout it out there.
How are you doing there? Yeah, the chat, I can't get the messages to go in there. I had been speaking to Paul Garrigan, Darren, about it was our opinion in the club and that knew that the lads weren't getting up to Ballinkill early enough. We were too late leaving them to get involved with county squads. You know, I think in other codes they're involved in county fairly early on, and I think it'd be good for them to be up around it more, you know.
we like at 13, there's like it's probably Paul. If you're on the line there now, Paul's there. He's over the academy squad. But
Yeah, I've been speaking to Paul about it before. We just had everything, and we never got around to talking about it again. But
yeah, so at 13 is really there's no games for that we call that the kind of Rising Star program. So there's actually no games program provided for even for the 13s. So it has came up before. Like, what do we provide for them? Like, do we bring them up at 11? Was that too soon? Because they don't play a games program until 14, under 14s. So,
well, I think you could do, like, I was speaking to a couple of lads from I won't give names, but lads from Dunlavin and stuff, and like, even if you could do a districts thing or something, like, you know, at under 12s, like, not leave it until 13. I think leaving them until 13 is a year nearly too late. You know, I'd say in Kilkenny and other places they have chaps involved with their county squads from earlier. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get you. I'm actually not too sure what they have in other counties. But yeah, oh sure, yeah, look into it. As I said, I'll be talking to Paul. I can actually. You said you were talking before, but I'll bring up the issue with him again.
Yeah.
With that, is that all right?
We'd have lads that we definitely would love to go up, but they're a year too young. I know it didn't happen this year with the whole lockdown, but you know, we thought it was another year we'd have, like, next year we'd have a good few lads that would hopefully go forward for county, you know, that kind of way.
Oh yeah, no, that's perfect. Yeah, I think that's I know we did the 13th last year. I think it's a really, really good program.
It looks brilliant.
Yeah, no, it's really, really good. We're really happy, and it's running districts. I think we're not asking people to travel too far or anything like that, but yeah, no, but sure, I'll be talking to Paul in the next couple of days, and I'll be talking about it, and I maybe get him to give you a phone call on. Is that okay?
So I appreciate that, and that's very good tonight. Thanks very much. Thank you.
John has a question there on after losing it. Would you recommend working on stamina and speed at this age, or just concentrate on skills?
Probably just concentrate on skills and all the kind of fundamental movements. No need to be running the kids laps or anything like that to create stamina. Stamina can be created by using the ball as well in a game-based situation. So I'd say doing all the physical fitness while using the ball.
And Alex has a question there. What is your view about streaming for 12-year-olds during training? Strong v strong game, so-called weaker v weaker game. Weaker players a chance to get more time on ball, v creating stigma among players.
Yeah, no, that comes up a lot. See, players know if it's strong v strong or weaker v weaker, so that could become a problem in itself. So, me personally, I just like to mix and match the teams. Like, no strong v strong, just kind of mix the teams equally and try to play that way. But no, it can be done. I've just said, like, I've come in problems before where you've done strong v strong and weak v weak, and players know, and they kind of know if they're on the weaker team or anything like that, and their heads could drop or morale could be low. So me personally, I just like mixing all the teams together and just mix and match in my training sessions.
If there's any more questions, pop them in.
I think that's it. If that's it, just like to thank everyone for joining us, and thanks for all your questions and all your interaction. And thanks again, Jackie. So just thanks again, everyone, and I hope everyone keeps safe, and hopefully be back on the pitch soon enough. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, lads.
Thanks very much.